This presentation is submitted for the MBA program at the Arab Academy for Management, Banking and Financial Sciences for the 2025 to 2026 academic year. As part of the Supply Chain Management course, this study investigates the effect of supply chain failure on the collapse of Target Canada Supermarket. Prepared by Wael Sobi Ahmed, under the supervision of Professor Dr. Dalia Yunus. Here is our list of content. First, the introduction. Second, the research problem. Third, the solution strategy and SWOT analysis. Fourth, the conclusion. And finally, the recommendations. Let's begin. In the retail world, Target is a huge success story. It is a giant company with a strong brand and massive financial resources. When management decided to expand into Canada, everyone expected guaranteed success. But the reality was shocking. In less than 2 years, this expansion turned into a business nightmare. They lost over $2 billion, shut down 133 stores, and laid off 17,000 employees. How could a company with so much experience fail so quickly? The answer is not about bad marketing or low customer demand. The failure was strictly operational, a total breakdown of supply chain management. When a business strategy is disconnected from real-world execution and logistics systems fail, the whole company collapses from the inside. That is exactly what we will analyze today. After reviewing the sheer scale of the disaster in our introduction, we must now pivot to a precise, academic diagnosis of the research problem. The core issue was never about flawed marketing strategies or a lack of consumer demand. Rather, it was an unprecedented, systemic crisis in master data management and a catastrophic failure in ERP system integration. Target faced a classic misalignment between strategic ambition and supply chain readiness. When Target entered the Canadian market, top management made a critical decision. Instead of extending their legacy systems from the United States, they decided to build a brand new IT infrastructure from scratch. They acquired best-in-class Tier 1 software solutions, SAP for core ERP operations, Manhattan Associates for the warehouse management system, WMS, and JDA software for demand forecasting and auto-replenishment. On paper, this was the ultimate technological alliance. It was supposed to create a flawless, automated supply chain. However, they lacked one vital component: historical data. Because they were starting entirely fresh in a new market, the major bottleneck emerged during the critical data entry phase. Driven by an aggressively tight launch schedule, employees were forced to manually input the master data for over 75,000 unique SKUs, stock-keeping units, into the new SAP system. They had to do this at breakneck speed, bypassing standard quality assurance protocols. The result was an absolute disaster. Post-collapse audits revealed that data accuracy hovered at a dismal 30%. Product dimensions were entered incorrectly. Employees frequently confused inches with centimeters, or entered the width instead of the height. Weights were wrong, and the multi-pack quantities were completely flawed. Here, we witness the ultimate, devastating real-world application of the garbage in, garbage out principle. The physical material flow ground to an absolute halt because the information flow was thoroughly corrupted. The JDA demand forecasting system, unable to accurately read point-of-sale (POS) data, began issuing erratic and random purchase orders to suppliers. Simultaneously, the Manhattan Warehouse Management System was relying on those incorrect product dimensions. This triggered a cascade of operational paralysis. The WMS would reject incoming supplier shipments, falsely calculating that the distribution centers were at maximum capacity. Even worse, when dispatching goods to the retail locations, the system would send massive 53-foot trailers that were nearly empty, simply because the corrupted data led the system to believe the trailers were completely full, or that the store's back rooms had no available space. The final result was a fatal operational bottleneck. Distribution centers became heavily congested, with inventory stacked to the ceiling and pallets stuck in the aisles. Meanwhile, Canadian store shelves remained glaringly empty. This complete disconnect between inventory visibility and physical execution destroyed customer trust from day one, proving that a supply chain is only as strong as the integrity of its data. To transition from the operational diagnosis phase to formulating a methodological framework for a solution, we must first deconstruct the operational environment at the time of the launch. In supply chain management literature, designing a recovery plan requires a comprehensive strategic analysis of the organization's internal and external environment. Therefore, we will rely on a SWOT analysis supported by quantitative data. First, internal environment analysis. Strengths. Target relied on massive competitive advantages. Strategically, the company injected a capital investment of $1.8 billion to acquire 189 strategic locations, formerly Zellers stores, ensuring immediate geographic penetration. Logistically, it established 3 giant regional distribution centers in Milton, Calgary, and Cornwall. This is in addition to possessing a pre-existing high brand equity. Weaknesses. These were concentrated in the Big Bang rollout expansion strategy, opening 124 stores in just 10 months. This led to hiring 17,000 employees lacking the institutional knowledge required to handle the complex SAP system. More importantly, the quality of master data plummeted, with an accuracy rate of only 30% for over 75,000 products. Finally, there was a widespread silo effect, separating merchandising decisions from actual logistics capabilities. Second, external environment analysis opportunities. The Canadian market was receptive and ready for a new competitor. This was supported by the behavior of Canadian consumers who were already accustomed to cross-border shopping in the US, theoretically providing a ready-made customer base. Threats. These manifested in fierce competition from established entities with stable supply chains, such as Walmart Canada. Furthermore, the most critical threat was the rapid customer churn upon encountering the severe stockouts or empty shelves phenomenon. Strategic interventions and solution plan. Drawing upon this diagnostic analysis, to prevent the collapse, executive management should have implemented 3 counter-strategic initiatives. Transition to a phased rollout. The sound academic approach was to abandon rapid expansion and begin with a pilot testing phase of 3 to 5 stores. This provides a controlled environment to test inventory visibility and to detect and correct conflicts between the WMS and ERP systems before a nationwide rollout. Establish strict data governance. Immediate intervention was required by halting auto-replenishment systems and reverting to manual control. Simultaneously, launching a field-level data cleansing campaign to conduct physical audits of product dimensions and weights within the SAP databases. This would break the bottleneck and reactivate the physical flow of goods. Sales and operations planning, S&OP alignment. To eliminate departmental silos, S&OP protocols should have been activated to align key performance indicators, KPIs. Through this mechanism, purchasing and supply decisions are strictly balanced with the actual capacity of the distribution network, preventing the import of goods that instantly turn into dead stock. We now arrive at the conclusion of the Target Canada case study analysis. Beyond merely recounting operational errors, this experience provides a golden opportunity to extract governing principles within advanced supply chain management theories. We can crystallize these lessons into the following core points: the failure of information inventory, substitution. In modern supply chain models, high-quality information is used as a substitute for excess inventory. The greater the visibility, the lower the need for random stockpiling. In this case, the total collapse of data reliability deprived the company of this fundamental advantage. The systems operated in complete operational blindness, turning liquid financial assets into dead stock, trapped inside distribution centers, ultimately destroying the company's cash conversion cycle. The strategic fit gap. This disaster underscores the critical academic concept of aligning a company's competitive strategy with its supply chain strategy. Top management aggressively pursued rapid expansion and maximum market dominance. Meanwhile, the logistics infrastructure was still in its foundational stage, desperately requiring agility and a gradual approach to build capabilities. This fatal contradiction made it physically impossible for the logistics operations to fulfill the promises generated by the marketing campaigns. The illusion of tech-driven maturity. Target Canada proved that massive capital investment in Tier 1 ERP systems does not buy operational maturity. Technology inherently acts as an amplifier. If the core processes and standard operating procedures, SOPs, are flawed or untested, technology will not magically fix them. Instead, it will simply automate the failure, magnifying its speed and devastating impact across the entire network. Black box syndrome and the lack of feedback loops. Due to the extreme complexity of the new software systems, combined with the severe lack of institutional knowledge, employees treated the system's outputs as absolute, unquestionable facts. This led to the complete absence of effective feedback loops between the retail store floors and the distribution centers. When communication channels between the execution level and the planning level are severed, the organization's ability to sense errors early and activate continuous improvement protocols is entirely paralyzed. In conclusion, and based on the precise anatomy of the Target Canada collapse, we present a set of strategic recommendations that serve as a roadmap for any organization planning massive regional or international expansions. First, institutionalize data governance as a prerequisite for operations. Top management must stop treating data entry as a routine administrative task. We recommend establishing an independent data governance department with the absolute authority to halt any operational launch if master data accuracy does not reach 99%. Never run automated systems on unverified, manual data. Second, adopt a phased rollout methodology and conduct stress testing. Big bang expansion strategies must be banned in new markets. The most critical recommendation here is to implement a phased rollout. Start with a limited pilot scope and subject the logistics network to deliberate stress tests. Identify vulnerabilities in the warehouse management systems and resolve them in a controlled environment before fully committing to the market. Third, break down silos through integrated planning. The gap between departments must be eliminated by mandating sales and operations planning protocols. No strategic purchasing or marketing decision should be made without explicit approval from supply chain management, confirming there is sufficient physical capacity to store, process, and distribute those goods. Fourth, invest in change management and human capital. Complex technological systems require human talent capable of managing them, not just operating them. We recommend allocating sufficient budget and time for hands-on training to build the institutional memory needed to manually intervene and resolve issues when automated systems fail. Ultimately, the story of Target Canada will remain a stern reminder to every executive. Competitive advantage in today's business world is not solely built in marketing boardrooms or attractive storefronts. It is forged and ultimately decided within the aisles and distribution centers of the supply chain.